Hi everyone, my name is Adriana and today is a very special day and I am delighted to introduce you to Leigh Smith, a retired school principal who has been visiting our school for the past few days. Now, we want to get to know you better, so tell us more about your role as an independent school inspector.
Well, this particular role is fairly new to me, actually, because my main skills lie in the area of being a school principal. I've been a school principal 3 times in 3 different countries. But the leaders of your school, based on my experience, asked me if I could come and just have a look at the school and assess it from the role of an independent school inspector, but also use my experience as a principal to see where things are going well and areas that possibly can be improved. So the role of inspector is fairly new for me, but it's now an interesting challenge. I have.
What aspirations and hopes you have for the future education, and how can schools work towards achieving those goals?
Well, I mean, that's a very good question. I mean, for me, education is the key to all the world's problems.
I agree.
But it's deciding how we educate our young people. What is it that our young people need to know so that they can make a better world tomorrow? And over my lifetime, I've been in education, 50 years now, and education has changed. In my time, it's become more competitive, and it's probably adopted more of a business model than when I started. And I think there's now more a desire to educate children to go to the next level of education, which is university. And so there's a drive to improve academic standards, improve grades, and possibly not so much looking at what is it the world needs so that we do have a world tomorrow.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This is why I love so much studying IB, because I get to choose what I want to study and I can also choose where I want to go and what I want to do.
Right, yeah.
So my next question is, what advice you have for parents or educators in fostering a collaborative relationship to support a child, to support students? Or what do you think is the role of a parent in their child's education?
I think it's probably fair to say that most parents want their children to succeed in education, and by succeed, and probably in a school like this one, is to progress onto university.
Yeah.
To get good grades and to progress onto university so that you can then move into a fulfilling and well-paid job. I think that's what most parents want. Because of that drive, there is probably not enough attention paid to are children happy? I mean, ultimately, what's life about? It's about being happy, being fulfilled. Doing what makes you feel good about yourself. So I think because parents do want you to succeed in their fashion, there's often too much pressure placed on children. I mean, I've come from a country, which I won't name, where just about every parent requires that their children stay in school from 7:30 in the morning till 9:30 at night, and then on the weekend go to extra classes.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I'm not sure that this model is going to help to make a better world tomorrow or a sustainable world tomorrow. Everybody wants to achieve. In fact, we're into a very much achievement-orientated society, that people assess their worth based on what they achieve. And that's a concern for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, I remember that this week, in one of your discussions, you mentioned that this is your first time in Romania, am I right? I just want to know, what's your first impression? Are there things you like, you don't like?
Well, I mean, I've only seen a small part of Romania.
Yeah.
So I'm here in Timișoara. What I've seen, I like. I mean, really, a country is about its people.
Yeah.
And yes, countries can have beautiful scenery and interesting historical places, but ultimately it's about its people and about how you're received as a guest. And I've been very well received, so I've got every intention of coming back.
I'm glad. I'm glad that's your opinion. Now, I know that next period we have an assembly or later this week, and someone mentioned that you sing, and I know that's a hobby. So, how did you get into singing, and what was your experience?
Well, I think, before we started this interview, I mentioned to you that when your opportunities come along, take them.
Yeah.
And I didn't take my opportunities. I really didn't. And I've regretted it. I got into playing guitar in a rock and roll band very late in life. And I'm trying to think how I actually got into it. I don't know how I got into it. To be honest, it just happened. I'm trying to think where I was. I was in Indonesia, and I was working in a school in Indonesia. And I think there were just two or three like-minded people who just got together and say, why don't we start a rock and roll band?
Okay.
Yeah, and I was having my midlife crisis, and I thought, well, this is a good idea. And I remember missing my opportunities earlier on in life, and I
Yeah.
wasn't going to miss this one. And so we started a band, and it actually became very successful. We played lots of what we call gigs in and around Jakarta, and then I carried on playing when I went to China and started another band in China. It's great, love it.
Did you have your own songs, or
Yes, we wrote our own
really?
songs. In fact, I've written songs and I've got my own album actually.
And you can listen to that. Like can we listen to that?
Only if I give it to you.
Now, what are some other hobbies that you have? I'm sure you have more.
Yeah, I play tennis. Tennis is my main
Oh,
sport, and again, like I say, when your opportunities come around, take them because you don't know where they're going to
yeah.
lead you to. And for me, tennis has not only provided physical exercise
Yeah.
and enjoyment, it's also provided me with an opportunity to socialize. So wherever I've gone in the world, and I've worked in lots of different countries, I've always been able to join a tennis club. I'm a really, reasonably good tennis player. I've always been able to join a tennis club. So I've always had an immediate social group. And that's probably happened 7 or 8 times to me. And I currently play a lot of tennis where I live in China. I don't speak Chinese, but once we're on court, we're all speaking the language of tennis. So I've got a group of people that I relate to. So tennis has been very important. I also used to play a lot of football,
Mhm.
but the problem with football is you get to an age where you can't play it anymore.
Yeah.
And so like you get to 40 maybe, and then you can't play it anymore. So you've lost that social network. But with tennis, and that's probably the same as is true of golf, you can keep playing till later on in life. So I would recommend anybody to take up something like golf or tennis, one of those sort of non too stressful sports, but you can do it and have a social group wherever you go.
When I remembered while you were talking, when I was little, I actually played tennis for 2 years, but there was no real talent in me.
How do you know that? Because look, everybody is bad when they start off. Everybody. I know because I'm a
I
tennis
was
coach.
just not improving. That was the issue. So
Right.
that leads me to my next question. Where is your to-go snack when you watch a football match, tennis match, something on
My
TV?
go-to snack.
Yeah.
Um, well, look, am I allowed to say I enjoy a beer?
If that's a snack, yes.
Well, yeah, sometimes I just like to sit down and watch football and have a beer. Um, but living in China, I suppose I like to eat what they call a baozi. which is like a dumpling with vegetable or meat
Oh,
inside.
okay.
Wowza.
Never tried those.
Ask Miss Candy now to.
She cooked something for me, for us, a few months ago. It was good. It was delicious. After spending a few days with us at BIST, what is your opinion about the school and how do you see us moving forward?
Do you want me to be honest?
Yes.
It's a lovely school. As soon as you walk into the school, you get a good feeling. It's a school, obviously, for primarily Romanian students, but it's got an international open feel about it. It's very well organised, I have to say that. And I'm not just saying that because you're here, but the children are lovely. The students in the school are very welcoming of me in and around the school, and when I go into their classrooms. What I like about it is the students are very confident, or they come across as very confident.
Yeah.
So they have no problem talking to a stranger like me. So it's a very, very welcoming community. Yes, I've enjoyed it. How do you improve? Maybe your sports facilities could be improved. I know you've got a nice sports hall.
Yeah.
But you may be restricted with how much land you've got available. Maybe more participation in team sports and more school teams, whether it be football, basketball, rugby, tennis.
Maybe it can improve.
But
who knows?
I mean, a lot depends on the culture of the parent body and the culture of the students. What do you find important?
Yeah.
But going back to, I think, what I've said before, it's so important to take your opportunities. And if you got the opportunity to play sport or join a dance club or a drama society, but just talking about sport, if you got the opportunity to join a sports team, you will develop a whole range of skills that you can't develop in the classroom. So when you're playing, say, in a football team, you have to learn to get on with other people. You work out what your team members are good at. So if you're playing a ball to them, you want to play it to them in a way that suits them, suits their style, suits their skills. So you get to know other people and you learn to work in a team. They work out what you're good at, and together you can achieve more than you can as an individual. But being part of a team, being part of a dance group or a drama group or in a rock and roll band, other people are relying on you and you're relying on them. So it develops this sort of understanding that we can create more and achieve more as a group if we understand each other. give Sarah another big round of applause. And of course, the rest